Hi, this is Tom Needham, and you are listening to The Sounds of Film. And joining me on the phone are comedy legends Cheech and Chong. They're going to be appearing at the Paramount on Saturday on April 21st at 8 p.m. Today we're going to be speaking to Cheech and Chong about their 1978 classic film, Up in Smoke. The film debuted in 1978, and it's celebrating its 40th anniversary, and Paramount has released a special collector's edition, Blu-ray and DVD, that also includes vinyl and CDs of the beloved classic soundtrack. Through the years, Cheech and Chong have released many other films, including just a few of them, Cheech and Chong's next movie, Nice Dreams, and Things Are Tough All Over. In 2003, Tommy Chong was featured in the award-winning documentary, a.k.a. Tommy Chong. In addition to the films, they have released 6 gold albums. We're going to be featuring some of their recordings tonight. Tommy, Richard, thanks so much for joining me on The Sounds of Film.
Well, thank you for having us.
Well, I can't believe it's been 40 years since Up in Smoke has debuted. Before this film first came out, though, the two of you had a very successful comedy career. You were releasing albums. How did the idea for Up in Smoke first come about?
To do a movie?
Yeah, the movie.
Yeah, we really...
It occurred to us.
We got tired of being on the road, at least I did. And I got tired of going to Australia every year and missing summer in America. So I started working on writing a film with another guy named Joe Lasker. And then we talked to Lou and Cheech, and I both decided that we wanted to do a movie. And Lou Adler was our producer at the time, so he went out to make a deal, try to find a sucker. I mean, someone could put up the money to make the movie for us. And he talked to, who was it on the beach that he talked to? Do you remember, Cheech?
Some guy from the studios. He was friends with David Picker, who was the head of Paramount.
Yeah, it was Picker. Yeah, he'd meet him on the beach, and so Picker and Lou got together, and next thing you know, we're doing a movie called Up in Smoke.
Well, that's incredible. You know, one of the things, besides the film being so funny, is that when you look back at the movie, it's still so topical, a lot of the issues that you address. And I was wondering that when you first came up with this idea for this movie, how did the studio and the public react when you decided to make a movie that did contain so many drug references and drug use?
Well, we didn't really know. Nobody really knew. It was all new to everybody. It was new to us. It was new to the public. It was definitely new to Paramount. And to the point where the ratings people never even had a rating where it was excessive drug use or like what we had in our movie, and so we actually we were pioneers in the drug movie business, to the point where after our movie was released, they had to come up with these new restrictions, or at least these new warnings, because I don't think our movie PG. I don't even remember.
It was R.
It was R-rated because of
rated R for Reed.
But it was, it was the greatest. It really helped our box office because of being rated R, you had to bring up someone older to see the movie, and we were so popular with the younger crowd that it sort of increased our attendance. But it was a surprise to everybody.
Now, do you feel, in looking back at your movie, that it's played a role through the years in having America become more accepting of marijuana use?
Oh yeah, we always said we were middle of the road dopers, and we represented the norm. That they just didn't know what the norm was at that point. I mean, how are you going to tell that the Cheech and Chong is the norm when the studios were making like Hello Dolly at that time?
That's true.
And we also we depicted the characters that we showed in the movie. Pedro and Man, they were both in pretty good physical shape. lifestyle, especially with my character making a muscle drink, in the middle of the movie, as opposed to drinking wine or booze. We equated the healthy lifestyle with the movie itself, and as a result, and we were in good shape, and we were like kind of sexy for the girls, and it worked out, and guys, and it worked out really well because it was it wasn't what anybody would expect two stoners to look like.
Well, the film was certainly a box office success, and it really just changed the movie industry forever. Another issue that's touched on in the movie that's interesting looking back today is the topic of illegal immigration. It's just a brief scene, but there is that moment when there's a raid and a bunch of people are rounded up and they're sent back to Mexico, and you go along with them. But it's kind of made light of because people were looking to get a trip back to Mexico for a wedding.
Yeah, we made fun of something that was actually happening all the time, and they did it in that way,
Well,
I think that was a positive look at immigration. Instead of like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm back at my country at my birth. It was like, take a ride back, visit, go see some relatives, and then I'll come back to America to resume my life. And because that was going on, or it still is going on right now as we speak. And so that it showed the hypocritical part of the immigration, problems that we have today that still exist. And then the fact that Cheech and I both get deported, that was a joke too. Because while we're there, let's pick up a car made of marijuana and bring it back with us. So all of that was it was pretty bold and pretty.
We were blissfully ignorant. That's why we were so likable and lovable. We were blissfully ignorant.
Well, Richard, do you feel that your character in...
His name is Cheech.
Yeah. Do you feel that your character...
You can call me Cheech.
It's just Cheech? Okay. Cheech, do you feel that your character was Up in Smoke was a positive thing overall for the portrayal of Latinos in Hollywood?
Absolutely. They were smart, they were hip, they were musical, they were intelligent, they know their way around stuff, they were kind to other people, and damn sexy,
and real.
And real.
Yeah.
Because we showed a segment of society that was being ignored, by everybody. This is the same as my character, the rich kid from the rich family, who puts a Rolls Royce grill on a Volkswagen, just to show his rebelliousness. But we did get criticized for Cheech being portraying the Chicano as a major role in a movie, playing the lead character. Yeah, we got some criticism for that.
Another part of your comedy and in this film that I absolutely love is your use of music. It's always been part of your work, and particularly in this movie, I mean, you have one of my favorite concert scenes when you show up at the end at the Roxy in L.A. But can you talk a little bit about not just this movie, but how music has played an important role in your career, and then also touch on this movie a little bit too, if you can.
Well, we were musicians, both of us, all our lives. Tom was a guitar player, I was a singer. So music was always an integral part of our lives. And we met, we did music right from the beginning when we were, forming Cheech and Chong. We said, okay, we'll have a band and we'll do these comedy bits we've been developing over the years. And that sounded good to us, and so we kept on that. I mean, the plot of Up in Smoke, and there is one, is that two guys meet, they want to form a band, but first they have to get high, so they have to find a joint. And therein lies your plot.
And do you guys enjoy doing the music aspect of your work together still?
Well, the music, we also, don't forget that the the director of the movie, Lou Adler, was world famous for his musical abilities as a producer. You know, all the great acts that he produced. And so it was a natural thing. And plus, he owned the Roxy, where we played the rock fight. And he had access to all these great musicians, you know, that would play on our albums and in the movie itself, you know. So the soundtrack was had the best musicians in L.A. And Lou Adler himself, as the producer and arranger of a lot of the music that we did, and so it was just a natural. But it also it was a crowd that we were aiming for. We were called hard rock comedians right from the beginning. We came up, or they came up with that phrase to describe us. And so we were really...
I told that to Lou. He said, what do you call yourselves? And I said, it wasn't rock and roll, and it wasn't rhythm and blues. It was because hard rock was making its entrance, and that was the term. I said, we're hard rock comedy.
And boy, could you guys do it. Now, one thing that is also true about your comedy, and particularly the role that your characters play in this film, is that there's an element of anti-establishment. The humor comes from poking fun at the police or the government. Why does this kind of humor work for you guys so well?
Well, it's real. It was real. The cop that we put in, you know, Stacy's character, Stadenko, was named after a real narc in Vancouver that used to try to bust us when I had the After Hours Club, you know, Music After Hours Club in Vancouver. This, RCMP narcotics officer, Abe Stadenko, was on our trail, always trying to bust us for smoking weed. And so when we needed to name a cop, it had to be Stadenko. And I made the guy so famous that he got shipped off to Turkey for the rest of his career because he was too famous in Canada, in the States, to do his career here. So, you know, the anti-establishment was because cops were trying to bust us for smoking weed, which we knew was harmless and now is legal.
It's amazing. Tommy, as I mentioned earlier, I recently looked at the documentary, a.k.a. Tommy Chong, and it tells the story of how you actually were arrested and went to prison for trafficking drug paraphernalia across state lines. However, you get the sense in the movie that you were personally singled out, probably because of your fame, and also partly it seemed due to your movies that you made, particularly like Up in Smoke. It almost seemed as if they were trying to punish you for all these years of portraying the characters that you did and this anti-establishment aspects. Is there any truth to that?
They actually did. You know, I mean, they did come after me for that. And the truth is, I could have beat the charge. Because, we were, the bomb company was in my son's name. But when they arrested me, they told me right then that if I didn't give up, if I didn't, roll over, they would go after my wife and my son. Because they knew that legally it was entrapment. My name wasn't on the company. I wasn't personally involved with any of the transactions that they were charging me with. But they wanted a name. Ashcroft, put out, and George Bush at the time, they put out a hit list on the bomb companies because they were going into the Iraqi war, and so they wanted, some diversion. And so they came after the Operation Pipe Dreams, they called it. and I was the only one that did any jail time. And when I went up before the judge, and the judge was, Schwab in Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh, he was he actually quoted some of the Up in Smoke movie things, So I knew that, it was because because of that character. But I looked at it in a very positive manner because it was kind of I turned into like a pot martyr, and which has really helped me now because pot's illegal, and I got my own brand called Chong's Choice, which I owe to my notoriety as the only guy to go to jail for selling bongs.
Besides, there was some really cute guys in prison too.
Now I understand that through the years, you guys have had great times when you've gotten along well, and then you had a little bit of a falling out, and now you're back together again. If you could just tell me, let's keep it positive. Like, what is it that both of you respect about each other in terms of your talents?
That does what?
In terms of your talents.
Respect?
Yeah, respect.
Well, we're both old and kind of deaf, so we can't hear anything. So we have to sort of imagine whatever you said must have been good,
Yeah.
No, it's a matter of each one of us individually, we could go so far, but we could never match how powerful we are together. And so, that I think that personally, that's for my thing is, and I really enjoyed working with Cheech all these years, and I've never worked with anybody that could read my mind or I could read his mind the way we do each other. So, and he's kind of cute for a little Mexican.
He was attracted to cute guys. I mean, what can I say?
And Cheech, what is it that you admire about Tommy?
That we harmonize together, not in voices, well, although we do. It's just in thought. Our thoughts harmonize, just like the Everly Brothers when they sing together. It's a natural harmony. And when we broach subjects, we know exactly what part to sing, and that will harmonize.
When people come out to your shows, what is it that they most want to see? I mean, you have so many films and comedy albums. I mean, you're unique in that way. It's the music, it's the comedy, it's the movies. What is it that people want to see?
Well, they used to want to see us naked as much as possible, but I don't know so much.
Well, now they pay us not to get naked.
Yeah, not to get naked.
Actually, personally, I think they come to see us because my wife Shelby opens the show and she's quite gorgeous. So that's a big plus there too. So no, yeah, I think they like what we represent to so many people. The first sounds, the first reason that they had to laugh really hard was because of our craziness, and a lot of them they can't. And then they turn their kids on, and their kids have turned their kids on, and so it's a generational thing that just never seems to stop.
Yeah. Well, as I said, you have so many different things that the two of you have done through the years, but let's wrap things up with Up in Smoke. Out of all the things that you've done, why does Up in Smoke hold a special moment for the two of you in your career?
Well, it was our first movie, and your first movie is always the one you love most, even. It's because you're making a movie for the first time. It's magic. And it's also, it was about the subject, and it was the first time you get to see these two guys that you've been hearing all these years, because relatively few people saw us on stage live. A few more people than that heard us on record. But when the movies came out, everybody could see what we could do. And that was an eye-opener for them and for us as well.
And we also, our movies saved a lot of industries. Saved the drive-in movie industry for a few more years. It saved the movie company. A lot of movie companies were, at least one chain was going under until Up in Smoke came out. And because it was such a repeat business kind of movie, that played for years in some theaters, that movie houses could pay their mortgages. We had people come up and say, I got a brand new car, and you saved my house, just because of the movie, because it's to see the Grateful Dead. You're going to of the comedy. You're going to see a part. You're going to have a part. You're going to be in a part of a party. And so it's an event that will go on for as long as Cheech and Chong are around.
Well, I have to say, this show is called The Sounds of Film, and I'm so excited to be holding in my hand right now a newly released vinyl copy of the Up in Smoke soundtrack. And did you ever expect, 40 years later, that they would be releasing, new editions of the soundtrack to that film?
It's a landmark in that respect, in that I don't know any other movies that turned 40 this year that they're doing a big brouhaha about. Not one.
It's amazing. Well, Tommy...
Smoke has endured.
Yeah, Cheech and Chong, you guys are amazing, and I want to wish you continued success. We've been talking about Up in Smoke. I also want to encourage our listeners to go check out their website, cheechandchong.com, where you can learn all about the different things that they're doing. And I want to congratulate you on just your popularity right now in the clubs and in the concert halls and with the release of this movie. And thank you for all the work that you've been doing through the years.
Our pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Okay, take it easy, guys. Bye-bye.
All right. You be good. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.